Hello and welcome. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on this special interview on NewsX. We're in conversation today with well-known filmmaker Homi Adajania. Homi is, of course, making his OTT debut with the new release on Disney Plus Hotstar, which will be streaming very, very soon. It's called very intriguingly Saas Bahu or Flamingo. So, firstly, Homi, welcome to NewsX. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you, sir. Good to be on NewsX.
And first, I have to ask you how you coined that title because we our Hindi channels have had all versions of these Saas Bahu shows names. On the actual Saas Bahu TV serials where they used to
Yeah.
interview all the television stars. So
Yeah.
from Sajes to whatnot. But you got it Flamingo. So how did the title get?
So I was well, it's pretty applicable because the fact is that it is a sort of dodgy business being run between the Saas and the Bahus and the Beti without the men in the family even knowing about it. And so in that sense, it was, and the dodgy product they make is called Flamingo.
Yeah.
But saying that, why did I choose it was because I was quite well aware of the popularity of these shows at one time. I wasn't very well aware of what the content was, but I would hear about it and say, oh, it's always about these kitchen politics and mother-in-law and daughters-in-laws and that kind of thing. And so when this came about, I mean, I thought that was a great way to sort of be a little tongue-in-cheek and spin it on its head and make my little version of it.
Yes, yes. And as you said, it is literally the Saas, the Bahus, and the Flamingo. There's no Devar, there's no
No,
Dama, there's literally
there's a
no men.
Beti who's involved, who's the chemist.
Yes, yes. But we'll find out more about that, of course, when we watch the show. But also, let's just start about how your connect with OTT happened. This is also your OTT debut, so that's
It
a
is.
first as well.
Shit,
How did this come
I've not
about?
thought about that. Huh?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Suddenly, that like
It's
this debut line sounds good.
exactly. It's a first. So, when we talk about your OTT projects, which I'm sure there will be many more of in the future too, this will always be referred to as your first. So how did this happen? Did you wanted to enter this space for a while? How did this happen? How did this come in?
No. I don't. I can't even think like that. I don't think I'm capable of thinking like that. It was. See, I'd written the story, the basic story of this concept in I think 2015 or 16, and I shared it with Dinesh Vijan from Adak. And in fact, he said that when we get onto the digital space, we should make a imprint with this, and you should write it out. And it was more of just a thought in the air. Then, of course, OTT started coming in, and I think he sort of had an alliance with Disney Plus Hotstar, and he said that that thing you were telling me about, let's do it with them. So I said, sure. I mean, you want to bring up that? It was quite a mad idea. I mean, it is mad. If you even watch it now, it's freaking insane. But so the thing is that's how it came up, and then COVID happened. So it sort of went on to ice, and then I think 2 years passed, and he said, dude, we've already made the deal 2 years ago. COVID is over. Can you get your head out from under that rock and come back and make the freaking web series?
Yeah.
So I said, shit, we have to start. By then I had become a full-fledged gardener of sorts, digging wells to harvest rainwater and planting stuff and all. And he's like, enough, please just come back. We've committed this. Let's make it. And it actually started from there. And
okay.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, now that I'm thinking more about it now that you've said it's your OTT debut. I'm damn thrilled that this is my OTT debut, man.
Yeah.
Because this is one for the archives. I absolutely have not experienced something like this. It's definitely my most masala outing so far.
Yeah.
It's got absolutely everything in it.
And most rustic, I think, as well.
Well, most rustic I did Udaipur in Angrezi, but not like this. And also what was challenging is that it is a fictitious place called the Borderlands. So the idea is to have put these women who live in this sort of big Haveli kind of spread in the middle of nowhere. So it's a lawless place where they
Yes.
are law unto themselves.
Yeah.
They have their own system of morality, because I think in the third episode you see the genesis of Savitri, which is
Yeah.
Dimple's character, and you realize why she is how she is.
Mhm.
When
Mhm.
she was left to die and the whole world turned its back on her.
Yeah.
So when she rises like a phoenix, she now decides to live life on her own terms
Mhm.
in this lawless place.
Mhm.
Now the thing is, when you do something which is fictional,
Mhm.
like the place is
Yeah.
fictional, the people are fictional, so and the dialect is
Mhm.
fictitious. So what do you? It's that becomes a little challenging, because I can't point out and say, "Oh, this is from this place."
Mhm.
You know, it's got strains of places we are familiar with, and
Mhm.
it's a combination of that, because it was never meant to sort of be a certain community or a certain identified as a certain place.
Yes.
And also it's a bit hyper real in the where it is and what's going on.
Yeah.
But it's intrinsically linked to the urban cities. You see Savitri at one point, and she's at Paris Fashion Week.
Okay.
They do stuff with Spain.
Wow.
They're in the urban centers. So, but where they are based and where all the madness sort of ensues is
Yes.
completely fictitious. So then to make that believable and real was a little challenging. What degree of dialect, which character
Yes.
was speak with?
Yes.
We took 6 or 7 dialects and we made a hybrid of them,
Mhm.
which is what they speak in.
Yeah.
So all that was it was a very interesting sort of journey, new for me doing that. And
Yeah.
so in that sense, yeah, rustic to the core
Yeah.
in that sense, but very sort of interlinked. Like you'll see Dimple's character, she's from where she came, so she's never given up her love for goats.
Mhm.
So you see her actually milking a goat, wearing now that she's running a 500 crore business,
Yes.
milking a goat, and but she's wearing her Apple Watch, she's got a sat phone, she's got a Dyson fan behind her, and
Yeah.
she's milking the goat and drinking the milk directly. And yeah, it's that mad world of
Okay. But also given the fact that it is a series again, and it's your first first outing directing a series. How was it for you? Was that liberating? Given that you can flesh out the characters a bit more. There's no, you're not time bound to a 2 hour film or a 2.5 hour film. Was that
very,
liberating for you?
very liberating. Very, very liberating. I absolutely loved every moment of it. I love the fact that you have the luxury of time, and you have the luxury of time not just because it's a longer format. You have the luxury of time because the audience consumes long format with a different sensibility.
Mm-hmm.
The audience has more patience on a long format. They are willing to really immerse under the skin of the character. Uh, so they watch it with a slightly different lens, I feel. And therefore you have the liberty of using the luxury of that time of really fleshing out the characters in an extremely complex and layered manner. Uh, like I just did a feature film just now for an OTT,
Yes.
where you don't get that luxury.
Okay.
I mean, because it's fixed. It's within 40 days you're shooting the whole thing. Here for 90 days you're shooting, where you're living together.
Yeah.
I mean, as dystopian of family or dystopian of world as these guys are living in, we were
Yes.
living in the most utopian world offset,
Yeah.
or rather, when we were not shooting as a family.
Yes.
And your characters are picking up, like Radhika Madan will pick up. She's the daughter of Dimple Kapadia. She'll pick up certain physicalities or traits. They can sit and bounce things. So they've got the luxury of that time. They've got the luxury of going in depth into a character. And these are very complicated characters as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
It's not that they're all hiding skeletons in their closets.
Yes.
They all have they're all playing a game with each other. And you're trying to figure out what is true, what is not. So to be able to really exploit that to its fullest,
Yeah.
the long format allows that.
You needed a series like this.
I also feel that in terms of, I think it's very important that the consumer or the audience is told what the content is that they are watching, so that it doesn't offend anyone or it doesn't disturb anyone. So they need to be told, it needs to be regularized, where you're told, hey, you're watching this content, it contains this, your choice. But saying that, the freedom that you have on OTT, I really believe that it's a filmmaker's responsibility not to abuse that. Where we shouldn't be chucking in stuff just for shock value.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be chucking in stuff if it's not pushing the narrative forward. If it's not, see, aesthetic is a relative term, but if it's not pushing the narrative forward, or if it's not helping the character, the audience understand a little more about the character, I don't think you should just be doing things for the hell of it, because then we are shooting ourselves in the foot. Then you'll expect that
regulation and censorship.
So I mean, I think it's a two-way street where we can meet in the middle and very positively sort of shake hands and move ahead in a very creative.
No doubt. Well, OTT has been also giving very path-breaking content, and you said, of course, that it wasn't that you designed this specifically for the OTT, but it's just interesting that it's happened that way. Of course, it's allowed you to flesh out the characters, Homi, but it's also being appreciated. The first Russia is the trailer is being appreciated for really smashing patriarchy. And you're being appreciated for also striving for women-led content, because as you said, this is something which आंख बंद करके हम सोचते कि there would have been this bad guy, typical in Rajasthan running this drug empire. We've seen it.
Not Rajasthan.
Okay.
It's not Rajasthan.
It's not Rajasthan. Okay.
It's a place called Ran Pradesh.
Okay.
And this town is called Hastipur, and it's all
fictitious. It's fictitious, yes. Yeah. But we've not seen this before, women doing it. So how do you react to this, the comments you're getting about, the fact that you're smashing patriarchy through this, and the fact that this could be very path-breaking for other, projects in this space too?
Again, it's not something I've consciously decided I need to do and make a statement of. The thing is that I grew up in an environment which was extremely gender equal. I was absolutely naive to the fact that there was such disparate gender inequality that existed in the world at large till I was pretty much in college. And it was a naive. There was naivety in it, because I mean, if I was more aware, I would have known earlier. But I grew up with powerful women around me. I never saw. I couldn't understand why on earth, within the same species, you would discriminate against each other because of gender. And I figured out, okay, it's a power play that men have been doing for God knows how many centuries of existence. But I can't swallow that pill. I mean, I find it ridiculous. It just, I can't wrap my head around it. It doesn't make sense to me. Apart from really annoying the shit out of me. And I just feel that for me, because of the background from where I've come and the way I've been brought up and my conditioning and hardwiring in a certain way, is I very organically tell stories where the women are strong. Because that's how I see them. It's not that I'm trying to make a statement, or it's not that I'm trying to that's not the intent. It comes very naturally for me. It's very organic for me, and hence there you'll find characters who are women characters who are strong in, I would say, most of the stories I tell. But it's not out of some intentional thing of saying, hey, this is some crusade on. Absolutely not. It's just organic.
Okay. How was the casting done? There are some people you worked with, of course, before in the project. There are some absolutely new talent who you're working with for the first time. How did the casting happen? And ye Homi or Dimple ka milan ho hi gaya aakhir. It was not anticipated, but it happened.
No. Where's the choice? Where's the choice? I'm terrified of her, yaar. As soon as I'm making a project, she sniffs it out before I even thought about it. And she'll call me up, she'll give me the choicest abuses about why I've not cast her. I said, because I've not even written the first word of the concept. But no, jokes apart, I mean, I absolutely love collaborating with her. I have the privilege of her implicit trust. And I think when you get that from an actor, when there's absolutely not even an iota of doubt, then you can do magic. And that's why she fearlessly will push the envelope to boundaries we both don't know we can achieve. So it's always a joy in that sense. She's a very good friend of mine, and I feel, and we still, she will retain that professionalism that on set the director-actor relationship will never be blurred by our friendship.
Yeah.
So, I mean, earlier it used to be like a bit of a long-standing joke, and we'd be like, we can't keep repeating this, or it's a coincidence that she's in this. But now I feel I've come to the point where if I do a project without Dimple Kapadia, I think it'll be incomplete.
Okay.
And for me, it's the experience, not the result.
Yeah.
So for me, whenever I'm on a project, it's very important for me to be having to create a very solid, beautiful memory, which is full of love, full of laughter, full of good energy. And because the film, the sort of what happens to the film is its own destiny.
Yes.
You've put in your effort, you've done your stuff,
True.
but I will only remember the making of it. True. And that needs to be a beautiful memory. And True. Dimple is one of the people who really adds to it becoming a beautiful memory.
Yeah.
In terms of the other casting, there was Casting Bay, Anmol, who was, I think he auditioned the entire industry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think anyone and everyone, if I'm going to say, hey, I auditioned for that.
Yeah.
So there was a very sort of rigorous auditioning process. And finally, when I saw Angira and I saw Isha, Radhika I had worked with before, so I had already discussed it with her on Angrezi medium.
Mm-hmm.
Though her character changed a lot along the way.
Yeah.
With the other two Bahus and the two sons and adopted son, we went through a lot of auditions.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as I see an audition, if it's the correct audition, within 5 minutes, I know this is the actor.
Okay.
I know. I don't continue seeing it. I don't even watch the audition for the performance of the scene.
Yeah.
I watch it in a very different way, and I just know in my gut, this is the person. And then I need to meet that person for about 10 minutes. And that 10-minute meeting makes me decide whether I'm going to move ahead or not. Once I meet a person in person, energy I get sussed out, I know that this guy or this woman will be my character.
Okay. So, as you said, it was a memorable experience, of course, shooting it. Let's certainly hope that the audience will also have a memorable experience watching it now. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for joining us, Homi Adajania, and all the very best for Saas, Bahu or Flamingo.
Thank you, sir. You have a great day. Goodbye.